Okay. All right. Okay. Welcome back. Having some issues today. I might have to go back to the restroom somewhere in the middle. You know, I'm not sick, so it has something to do with my diet, but it's okay. Just I might stop halfway through here, but okay. So so the three things I'm gonna focus on. Go back over here. Three things I'm gonna focus on is a nostalgia factor, like remember how things used to be, and then the romantic part where they were involved, and then her rivalry with Violet. So these are just going to be like I said, flavor things. So basically, it's not going to be a big, huge amount of choices here. It's almost what the deal thing is going to be too. Sort of. Um, it won't exactly be that because uh, they're going to want to make a deal, and I don't know. Yeah, there won't be a lot of active action to that. So Uh, let's see what we can come up with. Um, okay. Let me write. Let me write thing in here. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Um, I'm just trying to think of what Max is doing right the second. Where was he last? And this is before Zanzibar, so I have to think now. Thanks. Okay. Where would Max be at this point? That's okay. Um, this is about the princess getting rescued. This is right. This is about Sir William. Okay, so in reality, Max can be anywhere. He can be down in his office in the mines. He could be in the administration castle. I guess I could conveniently put him in the mines. That way, we can go directly to. Okay. Okay. And at this point, does Max know that the princess has escaped? What does he want to do about it? Let's say he doesn't know that she's escaped yet. Uh, that kind of works into things because later when Zanzibar is introduced, maybe at that point he finds out that she's escaped, and where he kind of brushes it off because he's got Zanzibar. Because originally the idea was he was supposed to have kidnapped her because her people have found out a way of refining the ore up to like 90% versus 70%, which is what he needs. Um, and we're because Zanzibar kind of comes in. Zanzibar isn't part of the plan. Zanzibar is escaping custody. He stumbles into Enchanted Lands, and when Max decides that he can use them, he realizes that since his shows draw a lot of people to his shows, that he can use that to abduct more people. Um, and so he doesn't at that point doesn't think that he needs the princess because really they're just trying to refine the ore, so it'll be more powerful. But if they have a large enough supply, they can um, they don't have to worry about that as much because they just use more. They don't need to do the refining process. And really, I could have made a subplot for that where uh, he wanted to know the secret of how to imbue non-magicals with magic that only the princess could do, and but I thought it was too dark, and so I changed it to this refining process. But I almost maybe I have to introduce later, and I don't know where to introduce it at because I got already the number of chapters, but somehow introduce maybe when he starts the machine up for the first time, and that's when he learns that that's actually not a bad idea. I gotta put that down in my notes first. Let's put that on my notes. Recent. Um, and I'm gonna try to integrate it into the chapters, so that I don't need a um into the chapters so that I don't need a new chapter. I don't want any more than 20 chapters. I want to keep it this small like this. Okay. Okay. So going back to the original idea of why Max wanted the princess to be kidnapped in the first place was to imbue non-magicals with uh, magic ability. Um, I I deemed it too dark, so I changed it to reflect a possible new um, quicksilver refining process that yields 90 plus percent. So we're still going to make that important. Um, we're still going to make that important. Okay, so I'll have to insert some stuff in there somewhere, some story in there along the way. Because what he's going to be doing is he's going to so so basically and I don't even think I have it in this version because I streamlined the things down. I'll have to look and see if that's in there if I put that. I didn't actually put the whole trophy thing in there. So I'm gonna have to find a way of adding the trophy thing back into this current version without adding a bunch of extra pages and story and stuff. In fact, I might should look at that here soon. Maybe I'll do that after chapter 6. Just uh, so I'm actually still making progress here. I don't know. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll do the streamlining here in just a second. Uh, so we're still going to make that important because Hubert finds out a scepter was stolen using a strange kind of magic, and it turns out to be an actual device that doesn't need Quicksilver, and yet he's still abducting people. Um, let's see. Evening Rook. Oh, did I? Where's my chat thing? Okay, there we go. Just streaming, developing my game. So, and in fact, yeah, I'm gonna have to add that thing in. It's gotta be kind of an important thing here. It's kind of adds a little layer. It makes it a little bit uh I mean it adds some extra stuff that maybe shouldn't be in there. So hey Rook, welcome to the stream. Um how do I do that? So there's one part where a scepter is stolen from the Blizzard U trophy case, and Hubert discovers it was done by some strange portal opening technology rather than the regular magic. So when he... Oh wait, I already put that in there, didn't I? Find the scepter stolen using strange kind of magic and turn out to be actual device doesn't need Quicksilver, yet he's still ducking people. Okay, I already said that. Okay. Why? What's the... Where's Gentlemanly vampire sleuthing. Where is that page? Five, 6, and 7. Follow the wine. Door to follow the wine. Oh. I see. Because they're the same names, and they're three different pages that actually essentially do the same thing. Follow the wine, follow the wine, follow the wine. Huh. I don't know. I'll just leave that. It's not actually like an error. That's that's because of the nature of the deal. They're essentially three of the kind of the same thing. They're not actually the same thing, but they're the same thing. Maybe I should name these different though, instead of just the prefix, but actually name them differently. I should do that. Just maybe. The wine directory. Oh, yeah, that's because these are like the same. They're just they're different or they're just done each in a different order. And I hadn't had one where it's compressed into three deals like that. So okay, let's not worry about that. That's not important. What's important? What's important? Themed it too dark, so I changed that to okay, so I just solved my problem here. So we find out, so we find out that in order to do multiple portals, um, big enough for armies, he needs to boost the power of his devices. Before, usually it's the intent of the holder of the Quicksilver that opens just a big enough portal for people to step through. The device doesn't need Quicksilver or even the intent. It actually focuses, sets the frequency directly via controls. So even though that doesn't need it, this machine that needs vastly larger portals and larger numbers of portals needs a boost. Should probably be a thing about mapping frequencies to realms. That maybe he did that in his exile though. Maybe that's part of the deal. When he left, he tried doing something similar, and I don't remember exactly my original backstory for how Max, what Max did that was different. It was the idea is that it was smaller. He was still trying to do the same thing though. He was still trying to conquer different worlds. Um, but they all had. We could say it's like they all had to have their own piece of Quicksilver to be able to go through it, and then they had to open the portals themselves, and it means it's slow and it's messy, and they can't do as many as you can do now with this machine, right? So that's sort of the idea. Needs a boost. Okay, so he's still using it. He's just not using it specifically to open the portals. He's using it so that he can open large enough portals, and uh, he's not tied to a specific amount of or just a boost power is what it does. The more you add, the more boost power. That's why you'd also want a higher refining process. So a higher refining process means that you get more bang for your buck, basically, more energy for every ton of ore that they refine, right? So that's the thing here. Okay, so I just wanted to put that in here. Now, he doesn't start testing the machine until later. In fact, that's where I'll introduce the whole idea of um, let's see, let me think. The whole idea of when the princess escapes and he finds out about it, he needs to find an alternate method of doing that. Maybe it captures someone else from her realm. Or maybe it would mean I added a new character. But maybe, yeah, that's not a bad idea. You know what? Think about it. It'll be more in the form of an NPC, though. It won't be an actual, like, playable character, though. That's the thing. Because if I did that, I have to add more chapters, I have to add more things, you know. Um, like, maybe Zanzibar has a friend, and maybe Zanzibar had been in prison once, and he had a friend there, and the friend got out, and he discovers his friends in the Enchanted, and he's like, what are you doing here? And was it how's I gonna what was the reason for that? He gets oh, he has a friend that somehow, I mean, I have to come up with like a whole story and stuff. It's not hard, but it's just at this time we're kind of set, and so introducing something would be like either I introduce a whole new character, which adds a whole new layer of complexity, more stuff, or I make him like an NPC, which is kind of like almost like a one-off, like I did with Rottweiler and Rottweiler's third in command. Whereas before I had Kurt as his own deal, but he was a different kind of a character. So if I do this and do it like I could do it like an NPC character, like he brings him in. He's like, "How did you get here?" He's like, "How did you get here?" Well, he says, "Well, I thought I was escaping into a dimension, and somehow I managed to find my way here." And you know, so I still have to think of a little kind of a basic backstory about how his friend managed to get over here, and maybe it's through Verdance somehow. But that also means that somehow there was some magic that got him over to Princess Karen's realm, which means I need to come up with something that is plausible. I mean, Enchanted Lands could be the only source of Quicksilver in, in all the realms. But then again, maybe not. You know. Well, there's a deal about I actually have a couple of deals here, which is kind of interesting. They're kind of little threads here. One is I'll go ahead and it's kind of a spoiler for the future, sort of. If I decide to do it, it's a spoiler kind of. But so uh, I was gonna have this idea that that John is actually from Enchanted Lands. He's actually the long lost prince. You know, there was a talk, and I don't really have it in the story exactly, but the idea of where he was from, right? And he's actually not from our realm. He's actually from Enchanted Lands. And was the what was the reason I was saying that? Um, oh, and then there's a thing about the way Hubert kind of messes up a spell of the conjurer. I think I forget what he's trying to do. He's trying to conjure something up, and what happens is a little short circuit happens, and the and it swaps books from John's library to Wizard U, and vice versa. So there might be some precedence about some accident happening that caused his friend to actually jump from prison to and so basically somehow this friend gets an advertence and he could find someone and coerce somebody else to actually give him the secret of the refining operation. Let me think. Shoot, maybe Max is able to pull him out. Maybe that's the deal. He already has Barney doing like a lot of his enforcing. The King of the Gnomes, he's got him doing a lot of stuff, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just wasting time trying to think of this. Maybe this friend is from. Maybe this friend was originally from Verdance, and somehow he got stuck in our realm. That would make it a little bit more correct. Magically, there was something where he got stuck in our realm, and that's what he was. He was in prison until Max pulled him back out. Hmm. I don't know. I just want this. I want there to be like this tie here where he needs the refining process. Now, I don't have anything in the story at all about why anybody else would need the refining process, right? Except Max wants the refining process. So maybe there's something that could. Shoot, maybe she's delivering the refining process to somebody in Enchanted Lands. Originally, it was that she was just going to go give a speech. She could still go give the speech. I mean, that could still be part of the itinerary. But maybe she was on a top secret mission to actually get this formula. Maybe get it to Hubert. And Max might have found it, found out about it. Hmm. Let's see, let's see. We want him to get his hands on the refining process. She was using her speech at Princess Prep as a sort of a cover, even though she was actually giving the speech there. It's just uh, using that as a secondary purpose to mask what the reason that she was there. So Max still needs the formula for the new refining process. Okay. I guess that's all I'll say for that because I have to think up some stuff. I have to insert in the appropriate places. I have to still make sure that this phase one uh, story doesn't get too bloated. I mean, not that I strictly need it, sort of, but I sort of do need it just because there's kind of this reason, right? Uh, so when Zanzibar pops in, he's gonna be like, oh, well, maybe I can make do with a current refining process. Um, if I'm able to get more people in this, and of course Zanzibar seems to draw in way bigger crowds than he could get just grabbing them singly. So that doesn't mean that he's not still looking for the formula. Okay, because you still might be able to pull off the required amount of refined ore. That's funny. Refined ore with more people working the mines. Okay. Um. All right. Okay. Let's get back. Let me get back to the point that I was trying to do. All right. I just want to remember where he's supposed to be at. In fact, this can be the same office that John and Roland get captured at when they go into the mines to rescue the slaves, to free the slaves. So, but he could be at the office there. So he's at the office, and he wants Red. He wants her to Okay, so we'll start with this. Max is sitting in his office in uh, in the mines. The mines. Looking over some what do you call that? What do you call it when you're looking at the amounts of stuff that's been mined? I don't know. Manifest or something. I don't know. Reports about mine yields. Um, oh, okay. He's gonna know about this. If this takes place after she escapes, because Barty was there when she escaped. So we're gonna assume then this is okay. This actually does make sense. When Barty comes in, Barty tells Max that the princess was rescued by Hubert and some other person nobody knows. Okay. Um, I don't want to. I want to put in narrative stuff, so I'm because basically he's gonna go and he's gonna berate Barty for screwing it up. Not only uh, he's gonna get mad at Barty for maybe he doesn't get mad at Barty though. Shoot, maybe he knows the count too. Maybe they were all buddies, all three of them. But he also says he thinks Hubert found out because the count managed to find out where he was. Um, he tells Barty to see if he can check on that other source of the new verdant refining process. Max himself um, this is kind of long though, but Max himself pulls out some old love letters um, with a in dark red envelopes and black ribbon. Okay, we'll say that. Bound um okay. Okay, let's put this over here. Some old love letters. We'd say some mysterious letters, but we'll just say old love letters because that's kind of what they are. He tells Barty he needs to recruit werewolves. So he will track down Red. He tells Barty if you can see, you can check. Okay. Since Max knows right where she is, as he knows everything that goes on in the Gnome Kingdom. Since he knows right where she is, he goes to meet with her. Okay. So let's do a thing here. Oh, we'll just leave that up there. Let's see if I can. Well, okay. Let me just continue to do, and then I'll refine it afterwards. Okay. So Max and Red talk over old times for a moment when he tells her why he's really there. He wants her to go to the werewolf village, convince them to join his armies. She's reluctant because she's been in hiding ever since an incident. Ever since what happened. An incident happened with Grandma. Okay. Okay. Hit 1 to try. Okay, this is good. Wait a second. Okay, nostalgia rant to convince her it will be like old times. Hit 2 to try. To play on her feelings for him. Hit 3 to try to play upon convince her. Provoke her with what has been happening with Violet. Okay, and then we can get rid of this, like so. So now I have 3 different things, right? Okay. Still have 40 minutes. I might actually, finish this one part. Part 1 is this. Part 2 is the deal Kurt makes with Violet. Not S-H-I-T. Okay. Control S. All right. So we need 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 2 and 3. All right. First thing I'll let you is I need to name these. Like Old Times Again is this title. Like Old Times Again. This one will be how we were together. That. And this one is going to be uh Have No Fury. And we'll do that. Well, she wasn't actually technically scorned though, but it's just to give you an idea. It's just supposed to be a little teaser of a title, basically. So go ahead and copy Control C to this, Control V, and we'll underscore it. Underscore it. Then we'll do this Control C, Control V, and then we'll go ahead and boop, 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 boonka boonka boonk. And then this one is copy, Control V, hit the underscores, underscores, underscores. Okay. Now, let's go to X. All right. And this is the chapter. Control C. We're going to make sure and copy this over too. So, okay. Now, what we also want to do from over here is, whoop, red hiding hood, there we go. And we want to do Control C, page 1, 2, and 3. Wait a minute. We want everything, including the hyphen. Control C. Control B. And we'll make this P1 like that. Do this one. B. And it's going to be page 2. And Control V. It's gonna be page 3. Oops. Okay. Alright, alright, okay, okay. Do 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 do. Okay, so we're gonna take this. We're gonna go to the door specs. We're gonna copy this. Copy. We're gonna go to Alright, Red Riding Hood. We're gonna go to the door here. Actually, that's not what we're gonna do. We're actually going to go. We're actually gonna copy this one. Copy, and we're gonna place this in the doors here. Paste. Door and paste. Door and paste. Okay, so that means these go down to here. Or these go down to here anyways. Okay. That means that now I'm gonna have to do the 1, 2, and 3. Okay. C, V, Control V, and we are going to go ahead and we're gonna make these 2, and then this one. We're also gonna make this 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And then what we need to do is we need to copy these. Copy the ID. Copy. You go in here. You go this first one. And shift N. Control V. Enter. Take this one. We're gonna take the ID. Copy. Go back here. Go to the door. Go to Control V. We work together. And then this one, third one is copy to this one. Like so. Now, what we should have is we should have this go to these 3, and these 3 go to this. So, Control Save, save room data. Oh, okay, it did it. It's just it was taking so long because I got all the output, so it was having to write all this stuff to the output. Okay, seems to be okay. Okay. Yep. And okay. Should be all right. Pull this down. Pull this down a little bit. Okay. Let's back up. Okay, good. So, what? Why did it do that? Okay, let's go ahead and try this again. Save room data. Control S. Scene, reload, save scene. I don't know, I didn't work before, but whatever is whatever. Okay. Now what time is it? All right. Uh, okay, so I have to figure out how, I have to figure this out. Hit 1 to continue, period. That. Control C. Control V and Control B. Okay. Give me a minute or two here. If you can tell, I'm dozing off for some reason. I shouldn't be, but whatever. All right. 30 minutes today. Let's see if we can knock this. Let's see if we can knock this little section off here. Okay. Frenemies and then a Tingo Steel. Okay, and then so that's up here. And then we got chapter 7. And I'm probably gonna do 3. I don't know. I'm gonna have to see if there is some choices I can put in here, some flavor choices, I guess. Um, Max asks. Okay. Actually, let's look at this again. Uh, okay. So he's just told her that he wants her to go. Tells Fred to remember, to try to remember all the fun they had. Uh, let's see. I'm not really sure about this particular text here. Just because he's gonna work the romantic angle some other time. We were so good together, kind of thing. This is purely a nostalgia trip. This is like, you remember. He also asks her to remember where the first time uh, uh, getting her first wolf pelt, first wolf pelt, how proud grandma was. Uh, he also asks, well, yeah, it kind of leans into the other part. Remember how it used to be when he ran Enchanted lands and how she could get away with anything. After smiling a bit, she reluctantly agrees. When to continue. Okay, that's good. That's good. I like that. Save room data. Okay. Now, how we were together. Even that, I won't be that good at writing this stuff either, but we'll figure something out. Ask her to remember really remember the good times, huh? First time they met. Uh First time they met, let's see. She mentions the fact he was looking for some werewolves to join him then. No, let's do it a little bit differently. How she caught Max in a trap while trying to capture your werewolf. She had the mind to get the fur of the werewolf. And then how Max told her of. This can go back to Grimm's fairy tale too, because Red Riding Hood is a Grimm's fairy tale. So, oh, that was Beauty and the Beast. This is another story. And Max told her of a story, that originated in Sir Julia. There we go. This actually makes her not the fairy tale character of Red, where the idea is she gets the idea from from the Grimm's fairy tale of Red Riding Hood. About a little girl with a red hood. Let's see. That could also talk about the first wolf she captured. Here. Okay. Let me check this out again. How proud Grandma was. Okay. And remember, and that gave her the idea to okay, so sorry, I don't know how to say this. That gave her the idea to capture wolves by doing just what Red Riding Hood did. He also reminds her of a few more things that led to their brief but fun relationship. She then he hints they could become something again if she helps him. So she agrees. Okay. Good. That's a good one. Control S. Save room data. Okay, now for the final one, hath no fury. And this also kind of plays on the romance idea too, just because part of it is kind of provoking her to jealousy a little bit. Oh. Did you know? I can't do the dialogue like this. He mentions that Violent is now working for him in this endeavor. Endeavor? I don't know. We don't have any spell check on this. I'll change that later, I guess. Endeavor. 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 Alright, let me type something in. No. 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 Close that saving. Here, I'll just do it here in the IRC window. That'll help. That'll do a spell check. Okay. I spelled that correctly, apparently. He also mentions how he couldn't have gotten this far without Violet. He says there's a chance she could see. Knowing of her dislike for Violet, he mentions that she claims she can easily get the werewolves to join. He also says that Violet asks about her, and he also says that Violet claimed Red couldn't possibly do the job she can. With that, Red quickly decides to go back to the wolf village. Go ahead and leave that go back part, because even though we're not going back to it. Oh, hey John. We had about 15 minutes left in this deal, and I'm just finishing up one part of chapter 6. They're arranged by like locations and groups of characters and stuff. In this chapter, this is where Max gets Red to recruit werewolves for his army, and he's trying to convince her because she has a history. So basically, her and Grandma had a scam going that would get wolf pelts by Grandma would seduce them, and then they would capture the werewolves and take their fur, and until one day that Grandma got eaten, or we'll just say the incident happened. An incident happened with Grandma, and so Red went into hiding, and she hasn't come out since. And Max, she actually hid out in the Gnome Kingdom where Max's mines are. Okay, so the Gnome Kingdom is adjacent. It's probably south. It's actually south of the Dwarf Mines, but the Gnome Kingdom is south of the Dwarf Mines. They're connected. The gnomes don't actually do any mining themselves. They're always for the quick buck. They're always for the scam, for heist. Barty, the king of the gnomes, works for Max, doing a lot of his dirty work. And what was I going to say? So he made a deal with Barty to be able to use his kingdom, a part of his kingdom, for his own Quicksilver mines. And Barty agreed only if he can like loot all the realms that they're supposedly going to go and conquer. And so that there's a deal there. But there's nothing in the mines, or even in the Gnome Kingdom for that matter, that Max doesn't know about, and he knows where Red was hiding. So now he's trying to coax her into going back to the werewolf village to convince them to join his army. Of course, the werewolves don't really like Red very much, and so there's gonna be some words said there, but eventually they're gonna agree. But so all of this, now I don't remember if I said this to you or not, but since this is not like a full like game right now, you're basically you're picking choices. these two lines are the old page, but this is the current page. Max is sitting in his office in the mines looking over some reports about mine yields when Barty comes in. Barty tells Max that the princess was rescued by Hubert and some other person nobody knows. He also says he thinks Hubert found out because the Count managed to find out where she was. Max himself pulls out some old love letters bound in dark red envelopes and black ribbon. He tells Barty he needs to recruit the werewolves so he will track down Red. He tells Barty to see if he can check on that other source of the new verdant fighting process. And there's a whole thing. Like, so Max has the princess from the realm of Verdance kidnapped, and originally was going to be to get a process or a way of imbuing non-magical persons. I don't know, non-magical people with magic. And I kind of changed it because it was a little too dark for a kind of the family-friendly comedy fantasy adventure thing. And so I changed it into a refining process. And Quicksilver is this magic mineral that runs Enchanted lands. And Max needs massive amounts of it for his machine. And so he wants this refining process. So he abducts her, but she gets rescued. And so now he's going to have to deal with that in a little bit. But here, this is like too long though. This paragraph looking thing here. I need to kind of I need to collapse it down to just kind of the basic events that happen. We'll do it this way: is Max in his office in the mines while looking over some reports is interrupted by Barty, King of the Gnomes. We'll just say it outright. Barty explains that the princess was rescued. After pulling out some envelopes, some old, we'll say some old letters. He tells Barty to check on the other source of the new refining process. Max, knowing where everything is in the mines, goes to finds Scarlet Red Clover. That's her name. Her name is Scarlet Clover. Yes, I know it sounds cringy and dumb right now, but I'm sticking with it until I think of something better. Into the mine finds. Let's see. He tells her he needs the werewolves to join his army, and would she help him by going over to their village. Ever since the incident with Grandma, he's been reluctant to leave the lines. But finally agrees. Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and just trash this. Do I want to keep it? Or do I want to keep it trash? Cozy. Let's actually. I don't really usually keep this stuff after I modify it, but maybe I'll keep this and I'll put it in my notes. The notes are recent. A lot of pages. A lot of this is just a bunch of crap. This like whenever I think of something, I always put it in my notes. So even if I never look at it again, it'll be. I hate that. Uh, clear direct formatting. That didn't do anything. Paragraph. Cancel. Uh. Okay, wait. Let's delete that. Let's paste special options. Okay. This is unformatted text. Why is it putting these in stupid paragraphs? They're not supposed to be paragraphs. They're supposed to be single lines. I don't know. I'm just gonna leave it. It's kind of annoying, but go ahead, leave that there. Okay, so that's good. Okay, proof for a bargain. Okay, let's look at this. Uh, red leaves for the werewolf village tells the werewolves led by Rottweiler that they may be rid of the curse if they join Max's army. I don't even need to tell them that it's led by Rottweiler. In fact, I hate that name. Uh, tells them um, she tells them they might be rid of their curse if they join Max's army. They tell Red that they might consider it if they can have some proof the curse can be lifted. Red leaves to go get Max. Okay. Okay, so that's that. So that's what happens here. So he asks her to go. She picks. You pick one of the three choices. It doesn't really matter that much. It's just how you experience it a little bit. Uh, Now this is the next one. This is called frenemies because this concerns Violet. While Red is gone, Kurt, Rottweiler's second in command, uh, and I guess I don't need that either. I mean, uh, Kurt leaves the werewolf village. Uh, Kurt remembers how much Violet hates Red. Hmm. He travels to Fairy God College to meet with her. Violet agrees to help Kurt become the leader of the pack if Kurt eliminates Red. Now, this is going to be another thing here. There's not. Honestly, this whole chapter is not really a chapter. It's really more like a cutscene. It's like there's not a lot of action going on. Like there's not a lot you can do. I mean, I could I could later on make it into something if I need some extra stuff for the player to do in the text parser or the finished versions. So you would set up a scene. How would you do that? I don't know how you do that. Anyways, maybe I'll worry about it later. Okay, so now later on, what happens is after he eliminates Red and brings her the hood back, um, he gets her uh, to help enhance the curse because Kurt does not want to turn into a regular person. He likes being a werewolf. He thinks it's powerful and he wants to be more powerful. So he gets her to do that, and then to do that, he needs to go get the totem leadership and bring it to her so that she can do some enchantment or whatever on it. But this time, at this point, is just uh, this is like almost like the first step here. Now, let me think about this for a second. And make I could make the chapter a little bit more substantial. Um, let me check the other page here. Click OK. Uh, proof for a bargain. Okay. Tells them they might be rid of their curse if they join Max's army. They tell Red they might consider it if they can have some proof. So Kurt does not leave until she leaves, right? Yeah, while Red's gone. Okay, that's good. That puts it. So that means he knows about the deal here. So it's possible. Hmm, I'll have to check something out here. If I go to the Tango's Dill page, Red brings Max back to the village. He turns a few of the werewolves back into humans. Werewolves led by Rottweiler throw Red into a hut in disgust, and Hurt comes back to the village. I don't even need to mention Rottweiler there either. Um, well, I don't know. I could leave that in there. That's fine. Leader of the werewolves, Rottweiler throws her into a hut. I can do that. Kurt comes back. The werewolves debate joining Max's army, eventually agree, and then brings Red back out. Red and Max return to Renaissance Fair Depot as Max boards the train. Okay. Okay, well, okay, so I have a little bit of a problem. I have a chapter split. Um, so basically, this chapter is all about the initial deal and uh, and coming back. So I may not be able to give it some interesting choices because if I rearranged the story, and it would take a big rearrangement because it's in the totem of leadership part is actually in a different chapter. It's in a different part, right? Because what happens is uh, they come back. Uh, Kurt comes back. In fact, Kurt might come back when she's back too, but nobody knows he's gone. I can modify it to say that. Um, but what happens is in a later chapter, um, in later chapter he brings the hood back, and then she says, okay, that in order to bind the pact to him, so that he can be the leader forever, he needs to bring her the totem leadership, and honestly, I haven't decided if Violet has an ulterior motive for that because she shouldn't really need it necessarily, but so maybe there's a thing like secretly she's binding the pact to herself. But then she gets taken care of before too long. So that might not even be a thing to put in there. I have to think though. Uh, oh shoot, it's already 3:30. Doggone it. I guess that's all the time I have for today. We'll have to worry about tomorrow about uh, about rearranging stuff. Um, I'll have to go through. I got. There's actually a lot of things I've got to do here. It's not just this chapter. Uh, I need to think about the other way to get the new refining process. Um, and probably add some of that to the the chapter about starting the machine up. He starts the machine up, and they realize that they need more power, and so they need that refining process. And so I can make that part of a thing, but I also have to put it in other chapters, whatever other chapters it has Max in them and stuff. And then, like I said, Zanzibar pops in, and that's it kind of falls into his lap. And um, anyways, maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Maybe we'll look at the whole redoing part. Maybe I don't know. I have only two chapters for Zanzibar. I have only two chapters for the werewolves. But so if I merge them, if I merge the werewolf chapters, then it's only one chapter, and then now we're back down to 19, which is fine. I don't mind if they're 19 back down to 19. But that means that the werewolves are only in it for a short time. And really, originally I was having the structure to where it was all kind of interleaved. That was before I did the chapter, so I don't know. We'll figure something out. I don't know when I'll get chapter 6 done. It may not be. It might not be by tomorrow. It may be all through next week because I'll have to do some refiguring on the story. So, anyways, everybody, thank you for watching. Part. Well, actually, I'll do my little end recording. So just give me a quick sec, and then I'll end the stream here. So, start recording. Today's Thursday, January 15th, 2026, and today I got a little tiny bit done. I got the first kind of part where Max recruits Red to go and convince the werewolves to join his armies. And I have some more stuff where I have to rearrange stuff. I also thought of the fact that I need to bring back the formula for refining the ore, and there needs to be a different way other than the princess to get that. So that's all I did today. Okay, that's about does it. So thanks for watching. Thanks for popping in. Thanks for listening, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching part 2.